How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Another frustrating series loss here to the Twins, going down at a score of 5-4. I feel like I've come on here a lot this year, and it feels like I'm beating a dead horse at this point. I've been saying this for a while now. Inconsistencies, even more inconsistencies on top of inconsistencies. You see this team where you see the potential of this team, and then they just come out. They get started off very well today. You get out to a nice lead. Things were looking pretty tidy for the most part. And then you just can't hang on to it. Whether or not it's the offense lacking or the bullpen also lacking, not able to hold down a lead. It's just they can't seem to find their groove. They just can't seem to find just that consistent path that's going to lead them to success. And it's getting a little frustrated. I'm at the point now where, yes, it is May 4th. Happy May the 4th, everybody. May the 4th be with you. I know everyone loves to say that every single year, so I got to say it. But it's getting to the point now where, listen, we've played over a month of baseball. We're almost a quarter of the way through the season, not quite at 25% just yet. But I'm at the point where I think changes are going to have to be made here at some point. At the very least, some tweaks, especially when you got a couple of guys down at the minor leagues that also had a good game today, but they've been playing well all year down in the minor leagues. Something's got to happen here. You're back to 500. I feel like, this was a team where you saw them coming into the year. They were good vibes. They had talent. Plenty of enough talent to be able to, should be playing better than this, in my opinion. It's frustrating, and it's getting to the point now where I'm just kind of over it. Again, I know it's early, but you're getting to the point now where, okay, you've had a little bit to evaluate now. What's going to be the game plan moving forward, right? Obviously, we've seen how many teams in the past where, you look at how they do the first 30, 40 games of the year. It doesn't really matter, by the end of the year, that doesn't dictate the outcome, right? But they need to start making some adjustments, and because it is getting a little frustrating, to be completely honest. But before I go any further, just want to shout out today's sponsor, and that's Harry's.
If you want a razor that looks good, makes you look good, gets the shave done, and doesn't cost much,
Oh.
Is it nice?
That's a hairy John. And you can smell it too. Smell it, John. Smell it.
Oh, wow. What
After
is that?
See, that's Harry's. That's the shave gel.
Oh,
I'm telling you, look. I mean, this.
you look scary, man.
It's the shot.
Fresh.
Now, come in. Get the,
I don't
look
want to
how
touch this
soft
head
that is.
anymore. Oh, my
Look how
God.
soft it is.
That looks like
It is
German
soft.
engineered blades made
It
in their
is
own
soft.
factory that stay sharp longer.
I'm using the razor, and it does not. You can start to feel when
Yeah,
it gets dull. I mean, you guys only do like here and like up here.
true.
I'm doing acreage.
Get the edge on your shave with Harry's. Normally their trial set is $10, but right now you can get it for just $6 at harrys.com/foul. That's our exclusive link, harrys.com/foul, for a $6 trial set.
Alrighty, go check out Harry's. Great deal going on right now. Like I've said in the past couple of days, I've used their products before. I think they're pretty solid for the most part. They got it for a good price right now. Make sure to use the code FOUL. Get yourself a good deal. But I see you in the chat, someone here saying that the volume is a little too low. Phoenix, you're saying the volume is a little too low. Everyone else, let me know. I'll turn it up a little here. Let me know how that is. Is that okay? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down, because I got to get the show on the road. I feel like the volume... Okay, volume is good. Okay, awesome. Let's get this going here. I just said a lot of what I had to say, or my thought process, coming into the show. Inconsistent offense. You start off well. Hey, they were coming out of the gates very well here today. Third inning or second inning, Willier with the base hit, Romy with the base hit. Nice day for Romy overall. It had the base hit, stolen base, did have the error in the game, but Narvdog picked him up there, throwing out Larnick on the stolen base attempt at second base. David Hamilton, I'll talk about him in just a little bit, but he laid down the sac bunt, and then after that, Narvdog with the base hit, made it 2-1 at the time. Unfortunately, after that, this is kind of where we've talked about this before as well. Said he had a double. Give a lot of credit to Carlos Correa. He made a nice play. Jaron Duran looks like he had a blooper, but Carlos Correa, that guy's so freaking good, man. Made a nice play there, but Rafi with a fly out right after that. So you got off to the nice start there in the second inning. You kept it going there. Third inning, Bregman with the walk, Williard with the base hit, Romy with the sac fly, made it 3-1. Eighth inning, you were down at that point. We'll get to Garrett Crochet here in just a second, but Williard with the home run that did make it 5-4. It's just, but again, you're getting off to the great start, and then you just go quiet for a little while. Sure, Williard, had a pretty good game here today and came up big in the eighth inning, but you're just not really able to get anything going here. And I did look up a stat. In the first through third innings this year for the Red Sox, they have a 146 WRC plus that ranks second in Major League Baseball. In the fourth through ninth innings, they have an 87 WRC plus that ranks 20th in Major League Baseball. So what that's telling me is they're coming out swinging. They're being aggressive. They're putting good swings on the ball. They're getting the offense going. But then the pitchers on the opposing teams, they're making the adjustments to the Red Sox, right? It's all about adjustments, right? I mean, that's not all about adjustments, but adjustments within a game are going to be very big in dictating a win or a loss. And the Red Sox so far this year, they just haven't been able to make those adjustments offensively as the game goes on. I don't know where to pinpoint that. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm getting to the point now where, again, I don't want to, point fingers, and I don't want to, again, and I see a couple of you in the chat saying, oh, we got to stop the, it's too early talk. I get it. We are getting there. I'm almost at that 25%. That's my line. I'm looking at the first 25% of the season, and I'm thinking, okay, we've had enough evaluation at this point. What do we do here moving forward? What adjustments can we make? The Red Sox right now, I don't know. I think it's more of a game plan kind of a thing. I think there's a philosophical thing going on here because they're making plenty of swings. They're making hard contact. They can do the damage, but I really think it comes down to the swing selections, recognizing the pitches. And I'm sorry to use the word adjustment again. That is kind of the key word of today's show. Making the adjustments to the pitchers because they're doing a much better job at figuring the Red Sox out as the game goes on than the Red Sox are at figuring them out. So there needs to be something there. I don't know what that answer is, to be completely honest with you, unfortunately. But to me, when I see Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer are having good years so far in the minor leagues, Roman Anthony's looking amazing. Sure, you could say maybe you want to have him work on the fly balls a little bit more. But, man, he's looking great, right? Marcelo Meyer, he got off to a bit of a slow start, but he's looking great. Today, they went a combined 5 for 10 today. I don't know, man. I just think this lineup, and you can't say Tristan Casas, right? Yes, they lost Tristan Casas, and like I've said the past couple of days here, thoughts and prayers going out to him. But he was a guy that was really looking to turn the corner, right? He was still trying to figure some things out. So you can't look at that, right? So you got to do something with this lineup. Looking at David Hamilton today. We'll get to David Hamilton a little bit later, when we're talking about the bullpen. But right now, he's had a couple of decent moments. Had a decent game yesterday. But for the most part, he's not really pulling his weight. He just feels like an automatic out at this point. And it's frustrating where, I'll get to the play with David Hamilton later on when we do talk about the bullpen. But at this point, it's like I really just don't want Trevor Story sitting. I know he's going to have to. I know they need to, they need to make sure, they're handling him well to keep him injury-free. But to me, I'm just not seeing a good enough reason at this point for Hamilton to be getting. It's hard because you got to go to someone. And no, I don't think Marcelo Meyer is the answer to be a backup. I don't think Marcelo Meyer should be coming up as a backup. He needs to be having everyday at bats. But they need to come up with some kind of a solution because The offense is so inconsistent this year. They need to find some kind of a formula where they're keeping this offense churning, right? And who knows? Maybe, you start to look at the hitting coach a little bit. I know everyone, they don't want to, there are people out there that think that's just that's a lame excuse. But at the end of the day, it's like we keep seeing the same old thing. It's over and over again, right? You see some hope. I don't want to say hope, right? Because there's so much talent, but you see the potential of what this team can do on a daily basis. And then they just fall flat again. And it's the same problems over and over and over again. So at some point, are you looking at the guys in the lineup? Are you looking at what's going on, coaching staff wise, game plan wise? I don't know. To me, I just feel like I'm at the point, like, what is going on here? It's because you just keep falling back into these same patterns, right? You bust out, and then you just fall right back to it. So I don't know. To me, I mean, I could be very wrong. I'm definitely wrong a lot, but I feel like at some point, it's like they just go with the same approach all the time. And it's like they hope for the best. No, I don't want to say hope. It's like they expect to get the same result every time. I don't know, man. Same thing, Anyway, I'm rambling. Not sure if I make sense on that, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking right now. Instant reaction. Very frustrated with this offense. Very frustrated because you see a lot of good things, but then the bad is really holding this team back, and I feel like they're lacking the extension in this lineup. And coming into the season, I'm thinking, that the lineup was looking very strong, I thought, very top to bottom, but, especially when you got a guy like Christian Campbell in the beginning of the year, batting 6th, 7th, and I'm thinking, oh, great, bottom of the lineup, you got a pretty solid bat there as well. Christian Campbell also batting cleanup today. I love a nice different look like that, by the way. I'm a big fan. But I don't know, man. I think this Red Sox team, they're just lacking something that's preventing them from being a consistent offense, right? Whether that is Roman Anthony the answer, is Marcelo Meyer the answer, both of them, I'm not sure. But at this point, I'm starting to, because the talent's there. So I'm starting to, and I'm sorry if it's an unfair take, and I'm not trying to be that guy. But at some point, it's like, is it the players, or is it a philosophical thing? Is it the approach or the analytics? What is it? I don't know. And again, maybe I'm overreacting, and I apologize if I'm overreacting. I'm not trying to. I'm usually a guy that likes to keep an even keel on things, but it's just getting frustrating. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think I do know what the answer is, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. To me, right now, I think this team needs a bit of a jolt. I think they need something. I feel like the lineup is missing something. I'm figuring out a way to get Roman Anthony into this lineup. I understand he's got to work on some things, but to me, you need a bit of a jolt. You need some energy. I think Roman Anthony's the guy. Maybe Marcelo Meyer at some point. I say right now, try to figure out how to get Roman into the lineup. That's what I'm doing, personally. You got an off day tomorrow? Could that be an answer tomorrow? Usually these big moves, anytime you make a call-up like that, especially with a player of that caliber, you like to do it on an off day. Could tomorrow be the day for Roman Anthony? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's what I'm doing, though. Some people might think that's rushing. For me, I need a jolt in this lineup. I need something, right? But what do I know? I'm just a doofus that sits at my desk. But let's get to Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet here. Hey, this guy today, not his best stuff. Velo was down a little bit. But these are the kind of starts that I appreciate a lot. He's had a couple of them along the way where, he hasn't looked his best, whether or not he's, lacking command or something. But today, I appreciated this outing today because his fastball velo was down compared to his average. So he wasn't going to his fastball as much. He was actually leaning a lot more into the cutters and the sinkers today. He even upped his changeup usage today. All in all, had himself a pretty decent day. I kind of thought maybe they could go back to him for the 6th inning. He was at 89 pitches up to that point. So I don't know. I understand it could have been a little risky for him to go back out for the 6th inning, considering he didn't have his best today. But I do, because, if you go back to that 5th inning, he worked around a couple of the walks. He did finish the day strong, getting the fly out and the ground out. But I almost wonder if maybe he could have had another inning today. I'm not sure. We'll get to the bullpen here in a little bit. But getting back to the Crochet, another thing that I appreciated. Obviously, the outing today, he really gutted through. But my goodness, this guy, I mean, he didn't get full on hit in the face with a comebacker today, but he definitely got a good amount of graze on the face today with a comebacker. When that ball was hit right back to him, I jumped and I'm thinking, oh man, oh boy. But then you saw the replay, and I thought maybe he had blocked it enough with his glove, but then you saw the replay. It totally grazed his face and caught a good amount of his nose. Thank God that it didn't end up being more than that. But this guy stayed in the game after that. I mean, either way, whether or not, he did avoid, that being a lot worse, but still the mental part of it, you just had a ball, just almost hit you square in the face. That, to me, that's going to at least mentally shake me up as well. His nose was bleeding a little bit, so there definitely was a physical aspect of it as well. He said in the post game that his nose went a little numb after that. But to me, give him a lot of credit, man, for buckling down like that and just finishing off his outing. That happened in the 4th inning, so he ended up going the 5th inning after that. So a lot of credit from him. But again, getting back to the stuff, not his best stuff overall. The velo was down a little bit. A lot more sinkers on the day. 15% has been his average on the year for the usage, up to 22% on the day. And I actually wonder if that could have been slightly by design, because Minnesota, they rank 7th overall in the highest ground ball percentage. So I wonder if that was a bit of the plan today, or if it was some kind of an adjustment. Maybe in the bullpen, he felt like the fastball wasn't at its best. So was that an in-game adjustment, or was that also a bit part of the plan, just a little bit? But either way, the sinkers are up today. He went from 5% changeup usage on the year to 19% today. So he was working in his other pitches, but this proved to me that, because I see a lot of people thinking, oh, Crochet, he's just a fastball kind of a guy. He's just throwing out there. No, he pitched today. He pitched. Of course, you'd like for him to go a little bit deeper, but it is what it is. Overall, solid outing today for Garrett Crochet. But it's unfortunate that the bullpen had to waste it. Garrett Whitlock had a clean 6th inning, couple of strikeouts, but the 7th inning, he started to lose the command a little bit. Harrison Bader with the walk, Vasquez with the base hit, Buxton with the ground out to move the runners up, Jeffers with a base hit, had a pretty nice series overall. That tied the game at 3. So Whitlock, I saw some people saying on the Twitter land, on Red Sox Twitter land, enough with Garrett Whitlock pitching a couple innings. I could see, to me, this is kind of where, when Luis Guerrero went back down yesterday, or a couple of days ago, whenever it was, I'm thinking, because I've been wanting the Red Sox to have at least one more high leverage reliever. He had Zach Kelly, but obviously he had some things to work on. But Luis Guerrero, this is a guy that came up and he had a couple of good outings and the stuff was looking good. This is where I would have liked to have had, have him, go that 6th inning and then Whitlock go the 7th. And then, you figure it out from there. Or, again, I'll get back to it. And it might not be a fair take, and I can totally understand where people disagree with it. But I almost wonder, was Crochet out of gas? I would have liked another inning out of him, or at least maybe another out or two, at 89 pitches. But again, maybe he was just out of gas at that point. So I don't mean to be unfair with that if I am, because I'm not going to take anything away from Crochet today. The guy battled, got hit in the face with a freaking ball. So, to me, I'm not going to push the envelope on that. it would have been nice, but I'm okay with it. But to me, this is where it would have been nice to have Luis Guerrero. Another middle reliever with some good stuff that could come in. Whitlock, can just go that 7th, and then you go from there, right? Slayton, 8th inning. Slayton has not looked very good lately. You could say what you will about the Vlad home run off of him in Toronto. That curveball, man, sure, he did, Narvaez did want it outside, right? He didn't want it inside to Vlad. But the curveball that Vlad freaking hit out, that was just completely out of the zone. So either way, you missed the spot. But I'll at least give him a little credit because it wasn't necessarily a bad pitch. But overall, the numbers, the results have not looked good for Slayton. Correa had the base hit off of him. And this is where we get back to David Hamilton. This is why I don't want Trevor Story out of the game. And it stinks because I know he can't play every game, right? I know there's guys out there, they play a full 162, but with Trevor Story, you gotta manage the playing time with him. I'm not saying he needs a couple of days off every week, but, it seemed like he was probably in line. I feel like the last couple of games, if my memory serves me correctly, he hasn't fully been seeing the ball all that well. But Hamilton playing shortstop, like, he was not a good defensive shortstop last year. I hate David Hamilton playing shortstop. And it was a hard hit ball from Correa, but to me, that's a ball that needs to be caught. And it's those little things that can lead to those big innings. And to me, I'm fine with Hamilton being at second base, but why is he playing short? I get it. Story needed a day off, or whatever. But I don't know, man. Like, to me, I'm not having Hamilton play short. That's just me. I don't know. Couple of flyouts after that. Bader with a double. Made it 4-3. Slayton, the fastball was up above the zone. It just wasn't enough. That's what I think is the problem with Slayton as of late. He's not necessarily making bad pitches, but he's just leaving them a little too over. And they're just getting, I feel like he's close. He's just not fully making his pitches. Larnach had the base hit. They made it 5-3. Curveball. Caught too much of the plate. Again, probably a little bit lower. Maybe you have a different result. So I feel like, that fastball to Bader probably needs to be up a little bit more. I feel like lately, he's not fooling these batters. That's what I think the problem is, because the stuff isn't bad. The velo's still looking good. I just don't think, I think he's just not doing enough to get by, right? Just leaving a little too much over the plate. Hendricks came in, had a 1-2-3 inning. That honestly looked like the best Hendricks has looked up to this point. I've said that. This is a guy who's had a great career, and he's just needed to work off some rust. So, bullpen, though, not a great day. But, again, I'm not going to fully go to the bullpen because, you're going to have your moments throughout the year where guys are not on top of their game. You're going to have off games. So, yeah, the bullpen, a lot to be desired over the last few games, but they've had their moments. But this is where I get back to the offense. It's like it's so frustrating because when you have one part of the team that's not doing well, you got to have the other part step up, and it's unfortunate the offense and the bullpen just didn't do enough today. And this is against a Twins team that hasn't really been able to do all that much up to this point. It stinks, but for me, the one aspect of this that, lately, not even just today, but just lately, the one aspect that sticks out to me, it's this offense. They need to do something. Tweaks need to be made. Adjustments need to be made. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. To me, I think, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It is an off day. Off days are usually interesting, when it comes to roster moves. So I'm going to be on the lookout for something tomorrow. I'm not saying Roman's getting called up. But you just fell back to 500. You feel like this team needs a bit of a jolt. If there is a time to call up Roman, I think that tomorrow could be a day. We'll see. If they were playing better, if they were, 5 games over 500, I don't think you're even thinking about it. But now that you've fallen back to 500, I think you could maybe see something tomorrow. For me, I'll probably say no, but I wouldn't be surprised. We'll see. But they need a jolt. They need a jolt. Let's get to the reactions here. Let's read the chat. What do we got here to say? Jonathan, this falls mostly on the bullpen and, of course, the offense. Yeah, it's to me, I look at the bullpen, minus the last few games here, the last week, they've been very good, right? And I think some guys are just running into some issues. But the one thing that's been consistent all year is the inconsistent offense. That's kind of where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Marco Scudero, Roman call-up would inject some life. Yeah, I agree. Especially after, Casas went down. Sure, Casas, like I said earlier, thoughts and prayers, but he was still trying to figure some things out. But in the end, though, him going down the way he did, that kind of left you feeling deflated, and there were a lot of question marks that came up after that. We'll see. I think they do need to do something. Marco Scudero, much needed day off tomorrow. Recover and attack, go on a win streak. Rangers and Royals coming up. Hey, the Rangers got some good pitching. Their offense has been a little stale up to this point, so let's see. The Royals, how about the Royals today? How many home runs were they hitting over there in Baltimore? Holy cow. Tons of home runs. The Orioles end up losing that one. I saw Charlie Morton gave up a bomb. The Orioles, man. What the heck happened to the Orioles? And that actually gets me to another point. This division, it's been very up and down. The Yankees, obviously. I mean, they're off to a good start this year. But, let's take a look here. This division right now, it's still, minus the Orioles, they did lose today. 13-20. But they're still only 6 games back. We've seen plenty of teams in the past, get themselves right. The Orioles, their offense is shot right now. They got a lot of injuries. The pitching is just awful. Crazy. Who would have thought, Charlie Morton? My goodness. This guy, gets a $15 million deal, and he's been terrible. He's had a great career, but I don't know. I think the Orioles, man, you could say what you want maybe about the Red Sox, the hitting coaches, but something with the pitching coaches, man, when it comes to Baltimore, I don't know, man. The pitching stinks. It doesn't help that they have a whole ton of injuries, and losing Corbin Burns obviously didn't help either. But look at the Rays, 15-18, they're 4 back. Red Sox, Blue Jays, they're separated by a game. The Yankees are 19-14, so there's not a whole lot of separation in this division right now. So I will say that. Yeah, the Royals hit 6 home runs today. How many did the Orioles hit? What was it, 5, 4? Crazy. George White, didn't they have Grissom playing first? Yeah, so I saw people tweeting that out today. Some of the other bigger accounts out there, and Grissom's been playing first base, and I saw people today tweeting about it, saying like it was like this crazy revelation. Like, yes, he's been playing first base. I'm not trying to sound like a know-it-all. But I thought we all had I thought most people had an understanding that he's already has been playing first base. I don't know. So I don't think it was all that crazy that he had a first base mitt on today. But yeah, who knows? Could he be the answer for first base? I don't know. Right now, he's hanging around that quadruple A territory. I need to see Vaughn Grissom, if he's going to come up, I need to see him go, because it's whether if it's struggling or injuries, he has just been not able to take that next step. So we will see. Robert, they literally had a dude falling asleep at Fenway during the broadcast. Did they? Oh, no. Crazy. Crazy. Marco Scudero, Crochet is just a dog, grinds out the outings. That's what I love. Even when he's, not on top of his game, the guy grinds, and that is showing a lot to me because he's proving that he's a pitcher and not just throwing 4-seam fastballs all the time. The mighty Boston, maybe it's time to fire the hitting coach. I don't think they're going to do that, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd rather they just figure it out instead of, firing someone or whatever. To me, I don't want people losing their jobs. I'd rather People just figure it out. Just get it together. I don't know. Robert, I think the most frustrating thing is how well the offseason went and how on paper this team should be first in the American League, but the inconsistencies are keeping them at the 500 team of last season. Yeah, this is a better team than last year. By far a better team. But they're at 500. So that tells me, again, I'll get back to it. Is this a talent thing? Or is it the people, behind the scenes that are running the show? At the end of the day, yes, players got to play. But these are good players. And so what's happening? I don't know, man. I don't know. What do we got here? What else we got? Phoenix, I don't know about you guys, but I'm done waiting. It's time for Roman and Meyer to come up, make the changes. Seti to the bench because he's the odd man out. Campbell to first, Story to second, Meyer short. I got to push back on the Campbell thing. I can't do it. I can't do Campbell at first base. I get it. I understand. You want the team to win, but there's also a balancing act. And yes, it's my opinion, but I'm also looking at it from the way the front office and the way the people in the organization look at it as well. Christian Campbell is an uber athletic guy. And at the end of the day, front offices, they're looking at they're looking at stats, but they're looking at how many wins that you can get. Christian Campbell at second base, there's more upside there. There's more ceiling there because he's had his I hate using the word inconsistency now. Can we please, I need this team to start winning so I can stop using that word. But Christian Campbell at second base, there is more upside there because because second base is a high value position. First base has a very low value position defensively. So to me, with the athleticism that he has, I think he needs to stay at second. And if you want him to get better at second, I think for the most part, he's been fine. He's just had a couple of little slip-ups. But if you want him to get better and improve, he has to play second base. He's not going to get better at playing second base, playing first base. I understand the team need part of it, but to me, I think there's other ways to address first base. For me, if I'm playing MLB The Show, well, for me personally, MVP Baseball 2005, I'm putting Rafi at first base. I understand there's a personal part of it. There's a human being part of it as well. So I think you're going to have to wait on that. But if it's me, I'm calling Rafi and being like, hey, man, dude, sorry about how everything happened at spring training with Alex Bregman. We get it. You didn't like the communication aspect, but we're communicating with you right now. We need you to play first base. Will you do it? That is where I think he needs to be. Open up DH. Get some more flexibility within the team. That allows you to call up Roman Anthony. He can split time in the outfield and DH. That's what I'm doing, personally. I mean, you could, if you really, let me think about this out loud. If you did Roman splitting time at DH, I'm probably going to mess up somewhere here because I'm not good at thinking on the fly. I'm a potato brain. If you put Seti into a bench utility role, that opens up center field. And then you'd have Abreu, Duran, Roman. If you put Rafi at first base, I mean, that point, you could now use DH to where, I don't know, Story, Campbell, Meyer, those guys, even Bregman, you could rotate that infield into the DH spot. So in that aspect, if you move Seti to a utility role, Rafi to first base, well, now you've opened up a couple of spots in the lineup to where Bregman can DH a day, Story can DH a day, Campbell can DH a day, Meyer, whatever you do with him. So if you really want to maximize the lineup, that's what I'm doing. Rafi at first, Seti, love you. I love the speed. I love the glove. But that's what I'm doing because at the end of the day, I need this lineup to really get going. I might sound crazy saying that. I know. I might sound like I'm a lunatic. But I don't know. That's just kind of the way, because I want to see what I can do to get this lineup fully going. But in that scenario, the only way it works is if Rafi plays first. So I say, here's a first base mitt, my friend. We just got this brand new for you. We even got your name stitched on it. Here you go, my friend. Please be the first baseman. We need you. Please. But again, you're going to have to wait a little bit to even have that conversation, if it even comes up, because obviously you had the whole thing with Bregman at third and whatnot. So, well, thank you, Phoenix. I'm glad someone doesn't think it's crazy. I'm glad, because I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to get ripped apart for this take. It is what it is. And Mason, maybe you can even. Here's the thing. I love Seti. I love those little things that he brings. I'm saying defense like it's a little thing. Man, he's so good out there. It's like anytime a ball goes out to center field, I don't even worry about it. I don't, because I know he's got it, And even if it's something like a bloop, I think he has more of a chance than most center fielders out there to make a great play. So anytime a ball is hitting that direction, I feel so comfortable. It's crazy. It was just like Jackie Bradley Jr. Just like Jackie Bradley. But to me, Marco Scudero, a bad comparison, but he's kind of the Brock Holt of this team. Yeah. I love Brock Holt. Really love Brock Holt. I don't think I'd say it's a little different because Seti he brings you more defensive value, where Holt, he had more of that versatility where that was his true value, right? And, he could do some things with the bat too. Seti is more just defense and speed. So, again, I'll say that out loud. Rafi at first, Seti to the bench. Roman, you can work him into the outfield at that point, and then you rotate the infield with Meyer with the DH spot. That's what I do. I might be crazy. Maybe. But that's what I'm doing. Everybody, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm thinking out loud here as we go. But just frustrating. And I think changes need to be made. I think something needs to happen. I'm not asking for anyone to get fired. I'm not asking for trades. I'm not asking for, I'm not going to that level. No, I just want there to be some tweaks. I think there needs to be a little energy added to this team. I think there needs to be some adjustments, and yeah, sure. Philosophically, behind the scenes, yeah, I think there might need to be a bit of a meeting of the minds here and think, okay, I don't know, like we gotta do something here, Anyway, everybody, I'm out of here. Thank you for joining me today for the post-game show. Pretty solid crowd here, right around 80 people for the entire time. Appreciate that. Everybody, I'm out of here. We do have a day off tomorrow, so let's decompress a little bit, and let's see if anything happens. But everybody, I'm out of here. Go have yourself a good rest of your Sunday. Enjoy it, and I'll talk to you next time.